To build anything that truly lasts, it takes time.
Viewers, the Congress government has introduced cooked meals for stray dogs in Bengaluru. In a first-of-its-kind initiative in the country, the Congress-led BBMP has launched a plan to provide cooked meals for stray dogs across the city. Now, this move aims to improve the welfare of thousands of street dogs and promote humane treatment. The BBMP has floated a 2.8 crore tender to implement this scheme, under which 600 to 700 stray dogs in each of the 8 BBMP zones will receive daily meals. The menu reportedly includes meat, chicken and egg rice. So that is the latest move that has come under criticism, as well as, lots of mixed reactions, in fact, coming in as far as this entire decision and proposal by the BBMP is concerned. But remember, the Karnataka government is being criticized for saying that they do not have money for the welfare schemes and guarantees that they've promised during the assembly polls to the citizens of Karnataka, but they are sanctioning money to feed stray dogs, and that is 2.8 crore rupees that have now been proposed to feed stray dogs in the city. And the menu, in fact, includes meat, chicken, as well as egg rice. So while they say that they don't have money for, fulfilling the promises that they have made, the Karnataka government under Chief Minister Sidda has now proposed to feed stray dogs in the city of Bengaluru. That, ladies and gentlemen, is, the kind of situation that prevails as we speak. My colleague Neha is joining us on the phone line with more on this. Neha, this is getting a lot of mixed reactions. While most people are criticizing this proposal by the BBMP, lots of people are welcoming this as well, saying this is a humane treatment of stray dogs. But as far as the BBMP and the government are concerned, what are you hearing from them? When will this be implemented, and what more details do you have of this proposal?
Right. What we know, of course, right now is that, the government, of course, planning to bring in this particular initiative here for street dogs to ensure that, they are, fed. And this now has met with, like you rightly pointed out, a little bit of criticism as well from the opposition, suggesting that, they don't have money for the guarantees over here for people, but they've decided to spend on stray dogs. And on the other hand, like you rightly mentioned, of course, there's appreciation also coming in, saying that this is quite a humane move here. As far as the dogs are concerned. Now, of course, if we're to talk about this initiative itself, the government saying that this is the first of its kind initiative that aims to actually improve the welfare of these stray dogs, floated at about 2.8 crores is what the tender would look like. About 22 rupees per meal of cooked food for these dogs is what the government is currently looking at. Meat, chicken, eggs and rice as well. That would, in fact, of course, be provided now to these particular stray dogs here. However, as far as the scheme is concerned, the BBMP has also maintained that it's quite essential here to ensure that, the stray dog population in the city is, maintained, primarily because a lot of people have also raised concerns about the growing nature of, stray dogs attacking people, especially in residential areas.
Right, Neha, stay with me. Let's also tell our viewers that we've opened up our call lines. Viewers, you can call and share your thoughts of what you think about BBMP's decision to feed stray dogs a whopping 2.8 crore rupees that have been proposed to feed the stray dogs in the city of Bengaluru. Remember, this is, menu that would include chicken, egg, rice for the stray dogs at a time when the Karnataka government has been reiterating that they have no money to fulfill the kind of guarantees and promises that they have made to the people of Karnataka. Let's also get you the breaking update that is coming in at the moment. There seems to be a dogfight in Congress over the stray dogs. There's a chicken feast on cards for the dogs is, of course, something that is being questioned. Now, Karthi Chidambaram has questioned the move, saying dogs have no place on streets. He's also cited health hazard as one of the reasons why this should not be done. Let me also tell you what he said, saying he's in fact questioned, saying, is this true? Dogs have no place in the streets. They need to be relocated to shelters where they can be fed, vaccinated and sterilized. Feeding and keeping them in a free roaming state in the streets is a huge health and safety hazard. This coming in from, of course, Karti Chidambaram, objecting to this proposal that has been made by BBMP of feeding stray dogs. Let me go back to my colleague Neha. Neha, Karti Chidambaram is criticizing something that the government perhaps is supporting, this kind of move, saying that this is a huge health and safety hazard when it comes to encouraging stray dogs on the streets roaming free, because we have seen instances in the past, as you and I were talking about it earlier, that there have been stray dogs attacking people, especially children as well.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's right. Of course, we're seeing now infighting there within the party here, with Karti Chidambaram, senior Congress leader, now raising questions about this move here, suggesting that stray dogs have no place on the streets. But, like we pointed out earlier, this move has been met both with criticism as well as people, of course, appreciating it, calling this out, saying that, it's quite humanitarian on the government's part to do this. Possibly, of course, what the government would now have to look at is how they're going to ensure that these stray dogs, after, of course, being fed meat and, the food as well, do not really turn aggressive, and ensure that, as far as citizens are concerned, that they are kept, of course, that they're kept safe. But like you rightly pointed out also, we really have to wait and see how the government now responds to these charges there that are being made by Mr. Karti Chidambaram.
Right, Neha, stay with me. I'll come back to you. Right now, let me go across to our colleague Hina, who's getting us more about this particular post that Karti Chidambaram has made. Hina, over to you.
Well, that's right. So, Karti Chidambaram has also reacted to this entire controversy. Remember, a lot of people are now talking about it because it's one of its kind policy or a scheme that we are talking about that BBMP has announced, for which it has floated the tender. Karti Chidambaram says, and I quote, "Is this true? Dogs have no place in the streets. They need to be relocated to shelters where they can be fed, vaccinated and sterilized. Feeding and keeping them in a free roaming state in the streets is a huge health and safety hazard." So on one hand, clearly, while the BBMP's focus is to, look after the dogs and to also deal with this menace of stray dogs, animal welfare is their agenda. But on the other hand, you have people like Karti Chidambaram who are raising questions on this particular scheme. And I'd also like to show you, Shreya, the tender document. Times Now's Imran and Neha have also accessed the tender document in this particular case that has been put out by the government of Karnataka, the BBMP. Now, this is very, very interesting. It has the details also. This is an RFP, request for proposal, for providing, feeding services for community dogs in 8 zones of BBMP limits for 1 year only, 2025 and 26. And some of the details that I was looking at are quite interesting here that I'd like to show to our viewers. And here, in fact, they have specifically mentioned that maximum number of community dogs for feeding per day for 1 year is around 440. So they are, as per the tender, they are looking at feeding some 440 dogs per day for 1 full year, which is like covering 12,84,560 in 1 year. Apart from that, the total cost is going to be around 2.88 crores, so about 3 odd crore rupees is something that BBMP is planning to spend for this particular scheme to, feed the dogs. And here is an important part as well. Now, the BBMP in its tender has mentioned this initiative is to provide food for the community dogs with an average body weight of about 15 kg, and this is what the food is going to include: raw rice, raw chicken, vegetables, edible oil, etc. So, this is why now many people are raising questions as well as to, is this necessary at all? Is this something that, a city like Bengaluru really needs? The opposition in the state of Karnataka, which is the BJP, has also raised question, calling it yet another way of making money, and they have called it yet another scam by the Karnataka government.
Right, Hina, thanks very much for joining us with all those details. We've also got Rajendra from Ghaziabad calling us. Mr. Rajendra, thanks very much for sharing your thoughts. Go ahead, please.
Hello.
Mr. Rajendra, are you able to hear me?
Yeah. Can I talk
please
now?
go ahead.
I just wanted to know, they are giving free food to the stray dogs. Will they provide free vaccine in the case of dog bite?
Okay, valid question, Mr. Rajendra, that you are raising. Yes, these are questions, viewers, that people are asking the government today. Rajendra ji, thanks very much for, sharing your thoughts and, of course, the questions that you have in mind after seeing this kind of a proposal by the BBMP. Viewers, a very valid question that Mr. Rajendra has asked from Ghaziabad. Will they provide the vaccine free when these dogs bite people as well? Let me also go across to Mr. Ravi Chandra, who's joining us from Chennai. Mr. Ravi Chandra, go ahead.
Good evening. So most of the time when we see here, most of the five-star hotels, everywhere they waste their food. Why don't they distribute those food to these dogs rather than taking the taxpayer money? And other one would be, when these dogs transmit rabies, especially when there is a COVID, you should always be afraid of these schemes which, when they are focusing on this, I am sure in next year they will be bringing out some kind of rabies virus which will spread like...
Okay. Absolutely. Mr. Ravichandra, thanks very much for sharing your thoughts on Times Now. Viewers, these are valid concerns, valid questions that people now have in their mind after seeing this kind of a proposal by the BBMP, saying, why don't you just collect the food that is wasted and feed that to stray dog instead of, coming up with the special plan where you are specially providing them with food. Right now, I'm also joined by Ms. Sunita from Delhi. She's calling us from Delhi. Ms. Sunita, namaskar. Go ahead.
Hello, good evening. I'd like to talk about this decision to feed the stray dogs, which I think is wonderful. But you will obviously be getting some vendors to supply the food, and that is where the problem lies. It's going to be another scam. How are you going to plan it? The only way to do this is to tie up with NGOs and dog feeders in every locality. There are always a whole lot of dog feeders which should tie up with the NGO, and the NGO in turn ties it up with the government. But please be careful of vendors being brought into this plan to feed. The dogs will not, at the end of the day, will not get food, or it will be substandard, or they won't get food, and a whole lot of money that is allocated to this will not reach the source where it should go to.
Okay.
This is what I am very concerned about.
All right. Ms. Sunita, thanks very much for calling us, sharing your thoughts. So mixed reactions, viewers coming in, not just about safety, about health hazards, but also about the implementation of this kind of a scheme if, this is passed in the city of Bengaluru. We'll keep getting you reactions on this rather bizarre proposal by the BBMP. We'll have to wait and watch how the government responds to the kind of feedback by citizens that is coming in. At the moment, it's time for a short break. News and